Well, it's time for our week 39 Bible readings overview. And this is our last week in the Old Testament. Wow, hard to believe that we've made it all the way through. Several passages this week. We're going to be in Esther, Ezra, Nehemiah, Psalm 126, and then finally Malachi. So let's dive in. In the book of Esther, we're going to finish up in chapters 6 through 10, and really we're watching God preserve the Jewish people. It's a fascinating read. Ultimately, what's going on is that God is protecting the Messianic line. Keep that in your thinking, all right? He is protecting and preserving the Messianic line. When we then move to the book of Ezra, chapters 7 through 10, this particular section occurs over 1 year, and Ezra is talking about another return of exiles, another group of exiles returning to the southern kingdom, and then calling the exiles out for intermarriage with unbelievers. And that's the key there. They are marrying unbelievers. So they're going to have to put away those wives. And that's how Ezra's going to wrap up that particular book. And then in Nehemiah, there's 13 chapters. And Nehemiah is a story wherein this godly man in the 400s BC is cupbearer to King Artaxerxes. And he gets news about Jerusalem and how the wall around Jerusalem is in disarray. The temple has been rebuilt by this time, but the city is utterly sad. And the king gives him permission to go home and rebuild the walls. And they do. They faced a lot of opposition, but you see God using Nehemiah and the people to come together for a common purpose, rebuilding the wall. It too is a great read. Psalm 126 is going to be about the rejoicing of the people as they recognize God restoring Zion. And then we're going to finish with Malachi. 4 chapters, short little book. The prophet Malachi, preaching there in the mid-400s BC roughly, he is going to call out the disobedient priests and the disobedient people of the southern kingdom. But then he's going to do something. He's going to remind them that God made a promise back in Genesis 3 to send a Messiah. But he also promised to send one to prepare the way for that one. And of course, he's talking about John the Baptist. Malachi didn't know John's name, but the New Testament tells us. So he talks about the one who would come and ultimately prepare the way for Messiah. I hope this is a great week of reading. I hope this has been an enjoyable journey completing the Old Testament, and Lord willing, next week we'll dive into the New Testament as we work toward the end of 2023. God's grace to you in this endeavor, folks. Have a great one.